YouTube? This is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 11 start and sit video for the quarterback position. If you haven't already, make sure you check out our waiver wire video to help you guys with any injuries you have, maybe some players you feel have some good upside, and of course, rest of season schedule and bye weeks you've got to deal with. Now, speaking of bye weeks, you got Patriots, Colts, Saints, and Falcons out. So obviously, quarterback-wise, right? Like, you're not missing a whole lot this week. Unless you're in 2 QB leagues, then you got to deal with, obviously, maybe Derek Carr or Minshew not possibly playing. Now, these are your obvious quarterbacks you should be putting in your lineup this week. Without question, without hesitation, these guys should be in your lineups. Now, the first quarterback I'm going to mention as a good start this week is going to be Kyler Murray versus the Texans. Murray, from his first game back, looked a little rusty. He had some issues getting to his wide receivers. He overthrew Hollywood Brown in the end zone. So that's going to be something that is going to, I think, only get better when the season continues because, again, he hasn't played all season. That was his first game, but he was explosive. He had a nice rushing touchdown, and that was actually really, really good to see because, again, this is something that he was always really good at. Whenever you're dealing with an ACL, you don't know how players are going to perform right out of the gate, but he looks really good and explosive. Now playing a Texans team that is a pretty good matchup. Texans have allowed an average of 260 yards a game, and 3 of the last 5 games have allowed over 300 yards as well. It's definitely going to be a shootout between Kyler Murray and CJ Stroud. It's going to be a fun game to watch. So realistically, I'm not expecting the Cardinals to win, but I do expect Murray to have a lot better game in the fantasy world. Another quarterback I like this week is going to be Brock Purdy versus the Bucs. Look, right now the Bucs are allowing over 280 yards in the air. On top of that, averaging 19 points to the quarterback. They're allowing too many points for quarterbacks for a team that was pretty good defensively. Bucs have a good run defense. Obviously, McCaffrey is a different type of runner. He should still do very well. You know, I don't think he's going to have like a Derrick Henry, like where he just struggled. So I do expect that to be good. Purdy having Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams back was a huge difference maker for him and going against the Jaguars. He had a solid fantasy performance. One of the better ones this past weekend. And again, has a really good matchup here. Having those two guys back is, again, night and day difference between where he was struggling in those 3 games, not having them there. Again, I like Purdy a lot this week against the Bucs. Now, last quarterback, Josh Dobbs, going against the Broncos. Dobbs was definitely my waiver wire pickup you should be going after. He's been on fire lately. He has been, just amazing. He's currently QB7 in the fantasy world. And at this point, going against the Broncos defense that, they've had moments as of late. They've done pretty well defensively. But I still think the Vikings are actually going to get the edge, and who knows what's going to happen with Justin Jefferson. I do expect Jefferson to miss another game, but Addison looks really good. Hawkinson was fantastic, and right now it looks like Josh Dobbs loves force-feeding the tight end, so he's got another great matchup. And right now, Broncos are allowing 2 touchdowns a pass and 260 yards in the air. So realistically, this is a game that Dobbs should do well. He's been on fire, averaging 25 points in the last 3 games. I really like him a lot this week. Now, as far as the sits goes, I have Josh Allen versus the Jets. Josh Allen continues to have interception issues. Like, it is really bad. No one talks about it enough because of what his upside is. And maybe his upside isn't what people are hoping. Maybe his upside is it. Like, this is where this Josh Allen is a good running quarterback. He's got a strong arm, can make some explosive plays, and he's going to turn over the ball. Like, that's what Josh Allen is. Now playing the Jets, where the first game of the season threw 3 interceptions against them. Like, the Jets have been on fire. The Jets have been really good at creating turnovers, and rivalry games are always that weird scenario, right? Like, this is going to be a game where Josh Allen may actually end up blowing up and have an amazing game. I don't know if I believe that quite so. I think Jets just have his number. And because he is that risk taker, he's that Brett Favre-like type of quarterback, I'm going to sit him. You're probably going to start him, and I get it. I wouldn't be mad at you for starting him because you probably don't have other options anyways. But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets maybe 12 to 13 points. Another quarterback I'm going to sit this week is going to be Trevor Lawrence versus the Titans. Lawrence, man, did he have an eye-opening experience going against the 49ers. Now, the 49ers obviously were a team that were struggling, right? So you had expected Lawrence to have at least a better game than he, really had this past weekend, but he struggled. He had lots of turnovers, which has been something he's having, just like Josh Allen. He's allowing a lot of turnovers lately, which has not been great. And realistically, the Titans are a team that they're pretty good defensively. They're not bad against the pass. They're able to create some turnovers, right? They're a rival team against the Jaguars that know Trevor Lawrence very well. Trevor Lawrence in his past has had a game where he was going off on them, right? He was QB1 that week, I think. And there was a game he put up maybe 10 points. Like, he doesn't have the consistency enough that I feel confident in this matchup. I do think he's going to do a lot better than obviously that matchup he just had against the 49ers, but I do expect this is going to be more of a 12 to 15 point range. If you have other quarterback options, like I mentioned in Dobbs, or maybe Murray's available, I would look that way. Another quarterback I'm sitting is Baker Mayfield. You got it. I understand his performance has been great this season as far as fantasy goes. Like, he's been doing really well, but going against the 49ers defense that has finally woken up after this bye, man, that is a tough one. Like, I get the stretch where they were allowing about 22 points or so in fantasy for the 49ers, but that stretch was very minimal. Like, obviously they lost some games, but realistically, this defense is really good. They're very efficient. Baker in that passing offense has not, and they're going to look to obviously shut down Rachaad White, obviously keep Mike Evans. And Godwin hasn't really been a huge factor. So this is a game that you're going to have to sit Baker Mayfield. Now, my sleeper of the week is going to be Jordan Love versus the Chargers. Love may not have been the quarterback that everyone's hoping for the Packers, and who knows, he might still be there. There's a lot to see there. But Love in the fantasy space has done pretty well this season. Like, he's had really good games. He's had a couple bad games, but he's had overall a really good season so far in fantasy. Now going against a Chargers team that is allowing 20.8 points a game, over 315 yards passing. So this is a game that he should have some success. Do I expect 300 yards? No, I'm expecting a 260 to 280 yard game. I do expect both receivers, Dobbs and Watson, to have a better game. Even Reed looks pretty good. Luke Musgrave is definitely getting added, and they have to utilize Aaron Jones. Like, that's really where this offense is going to be successful. But I do like Jordan Love as a nice little sleeper. So those are my start sits and sleepers for week 11. If you guys have questions for your lineups, hit us up in the comments down below. If you haven't already, check out our waiver wire video. We'd love to help you guys out with any waiver questions or trade questions. If you're still within your trade deadline, we'd love to help you guys out. Hit us up in the comments down below. Smash that subscribe button. Smash that like button. Stay tuned for the other start and sit videos, and I'll check you guys out next.